November 5th.
You're listening to 16 Inputs, a show where we talk about video games. My name is Alan, and I'll be hosting today. Now, why don't you guys introduce yourselves? Brian, why don't you start?
Start with me?
Yes, sorry, Paul.
I started last time.
I'm fine. My name is Eric. Nice to meet you.
This is Paul. Nice to meet you.
This is John. Nice to meet you.
Hi, I'm Brian.
Good. Okay. Yeah, we're going to talk about next gen. So, why don't you start, Brian?
Dump everything on me.
Brought out the band topic, Brian.
Okay, what do you guys think about this gen compared to last gen? Like, what was your expectations coming into this gen, and has it even met those expectations at all?
There's a lot more games last gen, and this gen, I don't know. It was a lot prettier and much more advanced, but not as much memory.
My view of it is, there's a lot more complexities, but I think the quality of games has gotten way better this gen than compared to last gen.
Yeah, I think we can owe that to the new technology coming out because
And
they're doing things that just would never have been possible last generation. Not just graphics wise, but things like animations, AI, and things like that just wouldn't have been possible with the weaker technology from last generation.
I also think it's because games have gotten more expensive in terms of development, so they don't want to make a bad game as much than before.
There's that.
Yeah, so they want to cover all errors to make sure that at least it's good. But we still got a few stinkers along the way.
Oh yes.
I don't know. Maybe they're playing a bit too safe. Last gen, when I look over the games, there's only a handful of memorable ones, in my opinion.
Okay, like
Compared to
last gen as in PS2 or this gen?
PS2. I'm talking about PS2 and
In this gen, for the PS3 and the Xbox, there was a lot less memorable ones compared to the PlayStation 2. But
Really?
I think that's just in terms of quantity, because the PS2, Sony, and the Xbox game and the Nintendo GameCube, they just pumped out a ton of video games.
You don't think Uncharted or
Assassin's Creed
or
Infamous,
yeah,
I found Assassin's Creed and Infamous to be a tad forgettable.
BioShock.
And
Mass Effect?
Fine, I'll just point this out that I think this generation we had more Western developed games compared to Japanese developed games. And we have more I think Hollywood franchise productions instead of last gen where we had more diverse artsy games. Well, I wouldn't exactly say diverse artsy games. We have more Japanese centric games than in last gen compared to this gen.
there seems to be a lot more
Western developed games this generation, yeah.
Last generation, there was more of a mix.
Well, wouldn't you say there's more Japanese type games for more for handheld now than it is now for consoles?
I think so, yeah. I mean, look at DS. The DS has tons of RPGs.
Yeah, all those bring up a good point.
Yeah, but how many of them are Final Fantasy VII level of caliber?
Well, the thing about this gen is it's much harder to develop games now for this generation because the machine is more complex than it was in the last generation.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was harder to develop initially than later on with the emphasis of indie games. They started to become easier and easier.
Speaking of indie games, Alan, you mentioned how PS2 gen, last gen, was much more artsy than this gen. It seems to be we're going backwards because they're being more
No, I said we had more Japanese-centric games compared to this generation. Because I wouldn't say this generation was less artsy, because there's stuff like Nobi Nobi Boy, which is way out there, and then we have stuff like Journey, which is pretty good, and I'd say it's comparable to Shadow of the Colossus on last gen. And and then Yeah, and we got interesting indie games coming out and stuff.
Yeah, but in the first half, you could say, of this gen, there wasn't very much indie games, was there?
No. First half of the indie games was mostly Brown and Bloom.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it seems like in the beginning, like people are trying to find their footing. Like they released Heavenly Sword, and that was like, okay, like it was good, but like it didn't have that longevity to it.
No, it's basically a last gen game on steroids.
Yeah, and so was Lair, and so was what was it? Assassin's Creed was pretty new, like when it first came out.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
games were like very experimental. Like they were
Yeah.
trying something new, especially like Lair and Heavenly Sword. They were using technology they'd never touched before. They're like, fuck, how do we do this?
Yeah. And it's the first time we actually have like actually real time lighting and stuff instead of baked in lighting, like compared to PS2 days. So when you look at stuff like Resident Evil 5,
Yeah.
hello? Yeah. Okay, yeah. So when you look at stuff like Resident Evil 5, I remember like people were saying like, "Whoa, that looks so realistic," and all that shit because they have like actually like have like realistic looking zombies and they have like what was it pus like coming out their eyes and shit and they're like, "Whoa." Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't really like Resident Evil 5.
Well,
No, I mean as an example though, like graphically, like back in during when they were showing it off and stuff without playing the game.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
I think one of the first games to show that was actually Gears of War on the Xbox.
I actually forgot about that game.
Yeah, Gears of War.
yeah. Well, it all started with like Doom 3 and Half-Life. Those were the games that really changed games graphically.
Yeah. I mean, I admit I can still remember Doom 3 and Half-Life, but I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm putting my bar up a little too high, but this gen, there's not a lot of games, like I mentioned before, that I remember very well.
I think it's because when you're younger, you're more impressionable.
Maybe that as well.
And also, once you get older, you become more cynical.
Oh yeah. And I think it's
as-
also the fact that none of these really had such an impact on me in terms of not just graphically and story-wise, but just innovation to the industry itself. Like Paul mentioned how Half-Life essentially changed the way video games were being made in terms of graphics.
Yeah.
And then now this gen, well, the key points have been made and they're just refining it over and over again.
Not really.
No, I think the innovation happened in terms of the technology instead of in terms of the gameplay. Because if you look at, let's just say Grand Theft Auto 5, the technology, the innovation used to create the open world
Experience.
experience in that game is above and beyond what GTA 3 could ever have done.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think this generation we had more innovation and multiplayers for shooters and open world games.
I think it's also in terms of presentation, also on how you present your story. Yeah.
Well, presentation value comes with
No,
experience.
not. I'm not just talking about graphics. I'm talking about the way you structure your story. Like, look at like for instance, like BioShock Infinite, like the way they actually focus so much on the story instead of just like running around and shooting. Yeah.
Well,
The ending was a bit of a cop-out still, though.
Yeah.
Well, I think the bottom line, the reason why games were getting so much better, like better stories, better visuals, is because games have been making more money, so they're able to spend more money on those sort of things.
Yeah, I mean the audience is getting bigger. That's why.
Yeah.
No, it's just that the amount, the pie is getting bigger, but the amount per game earned is getting lower, though.
So
Yeah.
development's still expensive as hell, hence why the games are still expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, for everyone here, what was the most impressionable game in terms of, just like different in terms of, let's say, gameplay, graphics, and story for this gen?
I'd say Half-Life 2 for me.
Gameplay, graphics, and story.
You can make them either like 3 separate games or just
Are you
one
talking
game.
about like which like made me go like holy shit like this is what next gen is? Or are you
Is
talking
it so good?
Yeah, something like that.
like or are you talking about like
Did I just watch expressions? We went to expressions today. We got a walkthrough. So I want to go to audio. I want to go to audio collections. But I'm not going to commit to it yet.
Who's
Just
that?
got like a cheap
Hello?
camera. You're going to play with it.
John? I think that's your side, right? Let's eat
Barely
it,
hear you
guys.
trying.
Hello?
Made it.
Over here, good.
They already know.
There's Brian.
What?
I said Brian.
Can't hear you.
So nice.
John, is that on your end?
Yeah, that's from
It
John's
is.
end.
Can't you safe house that?
John! What are you doing? John! Can you lower it, please? Thank you, it's kind of lowered now. Ah!
Kick him off, Brian.
Sorry, John, we'll have to kick you out for a while.
He can come back when he learns how to behave.
Okay.
Alright.
God damn it, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, most impressionable game this generation.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll keep talking. But he's back. Hello.
Hey.
That was from your end, huh?
Yeah, disconnected.
What the hell was that?
Sounded like a plane.
Yeah, my computer gets disconnected a lot.
Okay.
It's like the internet is really fast here, but it likes to disconnect. Yeah.
Oh, what's that sound just now?
Oh, that was my hand.
What?
My hand was sitting on top of my mic.
John, your hand sounds like an airplane engine. I don't know how that's possible, but it
Or
does.
actually, I think it's because I was covering my microphone, which is embedded in my computer. You were hearing the sound of my fan, which is running at high RPMs right now.
Oh,
Okay. Where were we?
Most impressionable game this generation.
Right.
Well, it's hard to say. There was a lot of good ones out there. I mean,
Yeah.
personally, my personal favorite is Mirror's Edge because it did something I had never seen before in the game. Like first-person parkour, I have never seen that. Completely without a heads-up display. That was nice. But truly most impressive, there's a lot out there. Like the way technology grew and stuff. I don't think I could choose just one game as the most impressive game.
Yeah, I
this
can't
generation.
really.
No, how about a game which defined this generation?
Defined?
or
Yeah.
maybe
Because
Or
I
maybe,
have
like-
one.
Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I have to choose a game which actually defined this generation, I say The Last of Us.
Okay.
Last of Us?
I still haven't played that, so.
Oh, that one. Oh, the Naughty Dog game. The
Yeah.
zombie Naughty Dog game. No, the
Yeah.
fungus, the mushroom heads.
Because it did everything right, in my opinion. In terms of
Yeah.
storytelling, in terms of graphics, in terms of animation, in terms of game design, Multiplayer was a pretty fun added bonus too, so. But I say in terms of overall package, I say Last of Us. Yeah.
Well, you could also pick more than one game, like a game for gameplay, a game for graphics, a game for story.
Yeah.
Now if you ask me what's my personal favorite, I say Just Cause 2.
Just Cause 2 was just straight up fun.
What are you doing? Get off of my car!
Scorpio, we must attack the space.
God.
So funny.
Yeah, no, this is joking.
Well, in terms of gameplay, I guess the one I enjoyed the most was not the story or the graphics was mad, but the gameplay of Skyrim.
Yeah,
Where
Skyrim.
it's essentially like like a GTA game where you basically do whatever the hell you want.
Yep. And you could sit there for like an hour or 6 hours. It's just fun the whole time.
No, I like
Basically
how much thought and detail they actually put into the world building.
Yeah,
Like,
compared to Oblivion, it actually felt alive.
yeah, like you can actually read the books and like talk to people, actually learn more about the world and stuff. That's
like,
interesting.
it was
Well,
I guess like when I used to play World of Warcraft back in the day, I never played it for the actual game. I just played it so I could just wander around gathering the books, just
Yeah.
learning about the world because the world was built rather nicely.
No, I like the side quest too because the side quest felt like it wasn't a side quest. It felt like it was just another quest to flesh out more of the world, basically.
Actually, speaking
Yeah.
of side quests, one of the most memorable things I did in Skyrim was I met a mercenary and she was off doing something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I could do it for you. And she's like, sure, whatever, go ahead, don't mess up. And I go to this one place and there's a pole in the middle of nowhere on the side of a road. There's a little note and it says, do not sleep here. The giant has a right by order of the Jarl to set up camp. And there's a giant with a massive camp just like right off the road. And there's like a wagon all busted up and apparently some poor bastard tried to trade with the giant. I'm just staring at him like, oh, sort of solved all the problems right here, and I can't do anything about the giant because the Jarl said he's allowed to be there.
You didn't try to kill him or anything?
No, the giant just looked at me and just kind of farted and just walked away.
I remember my first encounter with the giant. After 5 seconds, I found myself in orbit. It's like,
I remember when I first played, I saw some mage fighting a giant, and immediately my brother was next to me, and he said, don't fight the giant. Why? Because he's gonna do something really messed up, and the giant smashes the mage, and the mage goes flying like 300 feet up in the air. I'm like, oh. Okay.
Yeah.
And they just ran right by him.
It's really funny because in like the Steam workshops for like if you play it on Steam, it's like they added a mod for the Space Core from Portal 2.
Yeah.
So you can pick it up and summon it and stuff, and it talks. It's like, oh, send me space. I'm in space. Send me space. And you actually get an achievement if you get a giant to attack you. You drop the Space Core, and the giant hits the Space Core, and it, using the physics and stuff, it launches it up. It will go space, and you'll get an achievement for sending the Space Core back into space.
I just used a magic spell to basically catapult him into space, and he just went off screaming in pain. But but not just in terms of gameplay, I like Skyrim, but I guess in terms of story, I really like the Metro series.
Metro series?
Yeah, the
Metro Last Light?
Yeah. The
I still
Metro
haven't
Last
played any of those.
Huh.
Yeah.
I found it a little funny that there's, for some odd reason, Nazis in the metros of Russia. Just a little funny. But overall, when I'm playing the game, it was actually really, the story was really compelling. And then I felt like utter shit at the end. Like, we're trying to reach out and be nice to you. It's not our fault our brains are so superior it makes yours explode. And I'm like, ah, shit, I just sent the nuke in that direction.
Yeah.
Another game with good storytelling, I think, was Spec Ops: The Line.
Yeah.
Makes you
Oh,
really
that
feel
one.
like a dick for wanting to play a shooter just because it's a shooter.
That's true. Well, I
Isn't
think
it where you essentially just murder everyone?
And then it calls you out on it in the end.
Yeah.
It's like you enjoy playing the hero and killing all the bad guys in your way. when you're just a monster.
Hmm.
I'm like, God, jeez. Why don't you can you give me a piece of pie later so I don't feel too bad about all this?
No, you're screwed. Actually, also the graphics I like. Have everyone actually like looked at a screenshot of a Total War game?
Which one? 2?
Shogun 2, well, actually we could just start from Empire and up, just the detail they put into everything. Just, I don't know. I guess it's a different type of graphics, impressive graphics from say like Final Fantasy, where
Well,
it's, in Final Fantasy it's all pretty, and Total War is just downright amazing because it's so big.
the sense of scale, huh?
Yeah, like you can actually see the boats, like the frigates they made in Empire. They actually admitted they went to the Nautical Museum in London and studied the frigates,
Hmm.
the ships, and stuff like that. And then you see it explode and be destroyed, and wood coming out, and sailors drowning, and kind of laugh at them.
Hmm.
Or like you send off an army and you watch them be completely like run over by the cavalry, and see a few of them get speared, and you're just like, damn, it's kind of fun.
So it really feels like you're commanding live soldiers, not just, okay, here's a few character models with predetermined animations, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. I mean,
It
if you
actually
play
feels
Shogun
like
3,
each soldier is doing
yeah.
something.
Well,
I mean,
Total
Shogun
War
2.
always has been good at that, though.
Yeah. Just the detail. It's sort of like those old people you find in Europe that's really obsessed with Napoleonic War, and they make like little models. This is like a game for them.
Hmm.
And they did the same thing in Rome too. Although I did laugh at the giant army of like the barbarians, and every single one of them had like a wolf head hood or something like that. But there's like 50,000 of them, and you're like, how many wolves are there in Europe again? 'Cause that's a lot of dead wolves right there.
Hmm.
I want to see someone make a game using the massive engine that they use for films.
The what?
The massive engine, like the program they used for like Lord of the Rings to simulate massive armies
Hmm.
of
Oh,
like
no.
well over like 30,000 soldiers and stuff.
Is that like
Each one-
proprietary to Weta or something?
Oh yeah, but it's like each one has like their own unique set of animations and stuff. They all like each soldier has AI. So if like a single soldier comes up to an army of like 5, they'll all gang up on him. And like another soldier comes up, one soldier will break off and attack him or something.
Hmm.
Like it's an intelligent simulator.
Total War is probably the closest thing you'll ever get to that.
Damn it.
Yeah.
I want to see like 100,000 soldiers under your command, each one doing their own little unique animation and stuff.
Total
I'll
War.
probably melt anybody's computer, but you could get pretty damn close in Total War.
Yeah.
If you got a big enough computer.
Maybe in 10 years.
Hmm. Hmm.
What games impressed you last gen?
Oh,
What?
last gen. There's so many.
Oh, that's...
Yeah, because like this gen, you guys were like, it's not as impressionable. It's like, okay, then what impressed you last gen?
Well, first off the bat, I love Psychonauts.
Okay.
I thought Hunting Ground impressed me last generation. In terms of
Hunting Ground I
graphics.
found hilarious.
Huh?
Yeah, I said in terms of graphics, Hunting Ground.
I thought so too, until I touched a little game called God of War 2.
Yeah, that one was pretty kick-ass.
So, yeah.
There's quite a few impressionable games from last gen. Like, they were so impressive that they made sequels, God of War 3 and stuff. I think one of the ones that got me first was Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
Total revamping of the gameplay, much more fun story and characters, much more fun storytelling. The merchant upgradable weapon system.
Hmm.
New Game Plus.
Yeah.
It was just fun.
I remember playing an indie game called Mountain Blade back in the day. It was ugly as hell.
Yeah, you tried to get me to play it. I was like, no thanks.
Yeah, I admit it's really ugly. The gameplay is all kinds of messed up, but the modding community for that game was really, really strong. So all I did was I mod the crap out of the game, and I just got a bunch of. You're essentially like a captain, not a general, and you got like 50 guys in front of you, and you're telling them to fight. And it's buggy as hell, but it was actually kind of interesting. It was sort of like Skyrim, only if you had like a bunch of people at your disposal.
Oh, I thought you'd say it's got like Skyrim, but with a lower budget.
Well, that's it. Skyrim with lower budget, and it's more strategy than it's like going out doing whatever the hell you want. Though you can do that as well. But I don't know. That game was. I guess I was just more impressed by the modding community more than anything else about that game. I mean, I mostly stuck with old school JRPGs during the PlayStation 2 era, like Dragon Quest. And Brian, you introduced me to Persona, so I knew about it at the time.
So, I love Persona.
No, I just recall that Persona was really fun. It's just when you introduced it to me, it was kind of like a underground hit or whatever.
Yeah.
And now it's getting more and more popular.
Well, yeah, because they re-released it on the Vita and stuff. So I was like, yeah.
Yeah, they're re-releasing it and it's getting even more hype.
Yeah.
And you also gave me those hot hack games. Those were fun.
Yeah, the hot games were fun. Like, no, I love the music in Dot Hack. Like the music was
Hot hack has
awesome.
great.
Yeah, Dot Hack had amazing music, which I was like, holy shit. But you know, they didn't even bring out this generation, which I was like, oh.
Hot hack is over actually.
Huh?
Hot hack ended actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's completely done now.
After GU3?
No, there was like another game after GU on the Vita, I think.
On the
Or
Vita?
it was on the Vita. It was this weird crossover game, and it was.
I thought there was a
weird
fighting
style,
game with a movie and
It
stuff.
was a weird fighting game.
Yeah, I thought it was a weird fighting game with a movie and stuff. Because I remember when they showed the movie, I was like, huh.
It was really strangely styled as well, but that was the end.
I don't know.
It's awfully, in my opinion.
What, the movie?
The setup was great, the characters were great, and then it was just really bad execution, but amazing story and music, actually.
Yeah, it's called The Hack Beyond the World.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, it came out last year.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Nah,
Yeah,
that's what I thought of it.
I must be getting old. I thought it came out a billion years ago.
Well, lots of JRPG franchises that came out last generation died out this generation.
Well,
Like Psychoden and stuff.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Psychoden, Grandia, they're dead.
Psychoden came out on the DS though for a while. It's called Psychoden Tescaris. After that, they stopped it there because the DS one didn't sell that well.
There's a lot of JRPGs that I thought personally I thought should have done a lot well, and of course they didn't, and then they killed it, and then just got sad.
Here's the thing though, is it better that JRPGs are now gone?
Oh.
Well, I'm speaking objectively, like look at it objectively, like the JRPGs define the PS2. So what defines...
Oh, you mean like if I wasn't biased? Okay.
If you weren't biased, yeah. if you weren't childhoodly emotionally attached to them, like people might say like it might be better because look, we have more open world games this gen compared to last gen when we're all stuck in linear hallways and JRPGs.
But it was great storytelling.
No, it was.
It was a different kind of storytelling.
Yeah, I think that's what made it different. But now we've seen so much of it that I think it's like, oh, okay, we know this trope already.
Yeah.
Actually, think about it like this. Ryan, if you say you got a game like GTA or Skyrim, and then you put an amazing story to it, say from one of the RPGs from PlayStation 2,
GTA had an amazing story. Well, you're not.
GTA did not have an amazing story.
Okay, wait, what?
But, okay, if you got a really good story, and I mean a really, like, you get invested in kind of story,
Yeah,
and say you put it to the gameplay of Skyrim,
yeah.
like, what would you get?
GTA
What
5.
do you think is the closest game?
GTA 5.
Are you biased?
No, I'm actually talking objectively. Like you
I
actually
don't know. I
care,
think
like you actually care about those characters when they actually like go through their stuff and stuff. And you know, you also care about the heist they go through. So you're like, holy shit! Like I don't want them to die. That kind of shit.
Well, I just got through my first heist and I used a bunch of crappy guys, so I didn't care if they died.
Oh.
You guys are expendable. I'm keeping your cut.
No, but I mean the main characters are like really really interesting.
Oh yeah, the main characters are like very like colorful and interesting.
Yeah, but the people
Like
who you
Trevor,
hire.
you gotta have a psycho like Trevor.
Yeah, but the people who you hire, you're like, nah, fuck it. Yeah, it's like screw you guys. I want a bigger cut. After one day down the road, you're like, fuck.
I don't know. Just
I know. I think GTA 5 did prove that you can tell an amazing story in an open world gameplay. So that's all right.
I'm really
Yakuza did well too.
hmm But they had a very confined world.
Yeah, but still open
But a
world.
shitload of extra gameplay.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you finished the main story. You've only finished 10% of the game. What?
And what? The way you run. No, what I love about Yakuza is that after the main story, there's still another whole section after the main story. Like you could be running around downtown, then this girl will come to you and say that she lost her father. Then you'll spend the next like 3 hours trying to look for her father. And that's another story branch too. So it's like, holy shit! How come this wasn't in the main game? And
I
it
kind
had,
of like that. I kind
Huh?
of like that type of gameplay a little bit more. That type of storytelling, that is.
the Japanese way.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems to connect a little bit more better, but that just might be my opinion. Well, that is my opinion.
Well, I don't know. Japanese storytelling is played out like theater though. It's like going from like skits to skits to skits to skits, while like Western storytelling they're more focused on the Hollywood 3 act structure.
Yeah.
So it's like at the beginning, there's a problem. To build up to that problem, he must fail in the first act, so during the second act, he can start building up for the third act. So in the third act, he can actually like conquer everybody and be like, yeah,
Yeah, but then it ends there.
yeah. Then it ends there.
Yeah, and then unlike the Japanese one where occasionally you have like the 3 skits, but like shrunk down for each little skit.
Eh, I think it depends though. Like, I don't know. Yakuza plays out like a daytime soap opera. Kind of
What an
does.
amazing daytime soap opera it is.
Yeah, I mean, okay, if you take out all the like gangster bashings and all the like chasing down like the thieves and stuff, and focus actually on the story. It's actually just like people living their daily lives and like suddenly something happens, so then you go deep into the shit end, so you must try to climb out that shit end, that kind of stuff.
Mm.
But interspersed in between are the little personal stories.
You mean like the ones where where you find and you take a picture of it?
No, I'm talking about like stuff like orphans need help, so you help your orphan kids, or like okay, like in Yakuza 3 where like you have to find the lost kitten and all that shit. That kind of stuff. But meanwhile, if you're talking about storytelling, like for example, like Mass Effect 2, you're like, holy shit, it's like the Reapers are coming. So what do? We must build up our army. We must go to like this planet, find this guy. We go to that planet, find that guy. Then while we're on that planet, we must learn about their story.
So wait, Eric. So what was your so what was their last gen that wasn't here this gen that makes you think that last generation was better? in terms of Japanese games.
In terms of Japanese games?
Yeah, well, it's present last generation that isn't present this generation. That makes you think that Japanese games last generation were better.
Story.
Just in terms
There
of
were
story?
good story. There were good stories this gen, yes, but not enough. I guess not enough where like I was invested in. I mean, the very few games I recall is BioShock Infinite. Although I still feel still no matter how I look at it. And I don't mean the ending was the multiple Elizabeth. I mean the actual gameplay part that just kind of hampered the storyline, in my opinion. But I guess what I really miss is the type of gameplay and story where they kind of meld together. Where I wouldn't say grinding, but something like it, where you have to invest your time to forward the story. And you essentially put in so much time, you actually invest yourself into the story, and the story is good enough where the payoff is worth it.
So basically Persona.
Well, Persona is the closest thing I could think of, but what I was thinking of was like more like God Hack, but thanks. Although I admit,
I can toss one
the
in.
grinding is not
How
a
about
good
Shadow
idea.
Colossus?
Shadow Colossus was great.
Yeah, because for most of the game, you're like, I don't know what the fuck is going on, but I'm just killing these beings, so oh well, whatever. Then, you know, as you
And then
slowly
you
work
slowly-
towards the ending, you're like, holy shit, it's like, why is he being captured? It's like, why the hell does he look sickly and stuff? It's like, is something wrong with him or something? Uh-oh.
That's all you say, and then that's it.
Yeah.
I like
And
how
the-
stupid the character is. The Wanderer. He
How's
was
that-
really dumb. He
How
was
is he
blinded by love. He was blinded by love so badly.
Well, I don't think it was stupid. It was just more, you know, like, the way they're trying to characterize him. Like, you know, he'll go through anything just to bring her back.
Persistence.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. He's lost at Forbidden Land. Like, she's the only girl around for miles around, so why not?
That's more like a process of elimination, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. It's like, just nothing around, so he could do everything.
It's not a choice, it's a lack of options.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's sort of like Aiko then.
Well, okay, Aiko's a kid, so, you know.
An
Still,
annoying
oh, damn
kid.
it. That's all I think. That's all I remember when I think of Aiko, the watermelon ending.
Yeah.
Or he probably wants to sugar
Yeah.
or something. I don't know. How is Aiko supposed to be? Like, 9, 10?
I have no idea. He's just a kid with horns. That's all I
Yeah.
remember.
Oh,
Turned into a book.
yeah.
That was weird. Anyways. I don't know. I feel that stories nowadays, I don't know. I can't seem to get invested in stories anymore. But that just, as Brian mentioned before, that could just be me getting more jaded.
Or
Well-
have they just become too violent or something?
I don't think so. Like, I think it depends on your viewpoint though, because like when Hunger Games came out, I was like, oh, well, why the fuck do I want to watch this? It's like it's basically battle royale, and you know, I was having like prejudgment of it. Then you know, I saw a bit of it recently. I was like, huh, you know what? This action is not that bad. And you know, like why would the younger people care anyway? Like they're not gonna look back at like battle royale because you know that's our generation stuff. Well, the Hunger Games
Actually-
is their generation stuff, so it's like let them have their generation stuff anyway. So why should
I don't think it's a generational thing. I think what Eric is talking about is that he can't get into video game stories these days is because I think it's because he misses the
he misses the
Yeah.
Japanese storytelling way, but that's because you know we grew up with that. We grew up with the way Japanese storytellers used to tell their stories. After that, now that it's becoming more like Hollywood, it's like I can see why he couldn't get into you know the quick pacing of things.
No, it's more emphasis on what's it called, events than on character. What was it?
Character development.
Well, not exactly character development. It's more like
interaction.
Introspective or whatever. Looking within.
Okay.
Contemplation.
Yeah.
Yeah, less looking within, more. We gotta, do shit and have the explosions in the background and stuff.
Hollywood. Actually, now that I think about it, when this gen started coming out, I started reading even more books than I did previously.
Well, I think that's one thing which Japanese storytelling is good at, is that they're good at like looking inside the character, like finding out what makes them tick. But then I think we also see subtle hints of that though. Like inside The Last of Us, we dig deep into those characters.
Yeah.
Okay, I admit The Last of Us, I played only a little bit of it, but that story I did get really into.
Yeah, because you actually need to find out like, okay, like what happened to like what makes Joe like Joe, and like what's his viewpoint and all that stuff. After the more you play, the more you figure out like, oh, okay, so that's what happened.
Yeah, but it's wrapped in a very disgusting, violent shell.
Yeah.
Kind of sounds like a dark.
First half.
Kind of sounds like a dark and edgy Resonance of Fate. You know absolutely nothing about the backstory. You just have this trio of somewhat interesting characters who slowly start opening up and developing, and like giving you more information as the story goes along.
Yeah.
With plenty of bizarre events along the way.
Yeah.
Raisin dance.
Actually, Brian, you mentioned the generational thing. I think that also might be a bit of it as well.
Yeah.
In movie terms, there's a film coming out called Mr. Peabody and Sherman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you all know where that came from, right?
No.
Yeah.
You don't?
No.
It's like an old TV show of some sort.
Well, it's like the Lone Ranger. Like I never watched that, and people were like talking about it. I was like, what?
Do you recall the Rocky and Bullwinkle cartoon?
I saw the movie. I didn't see the cartoon.
Well, the cartoon way back in the day, like the really awful looking cartoon. Rocky and Bullwinkle was just part of the entire cartoon.
Yeah.
Mr. Peabody and Sherman was also part of that. Sort of like segments that come out.
Yeah.
That give out like history lessons. And I was talking to my little brother about it, and I realized just how old I am.
Yeah.
Right? I'm like, hey, do you remember the Rocky and Bullwinkle show? And immediately he's like, no.
Yeah.
And I felt really old at that point.
Well, yeah, because like think about it, Johnny Bravo, like Dexter's Lab and all that shit. They're our generation stuff. Kids these days are looking at like Wizards of Wizarding Plays and like.
That's your.
Actually, no, wait, no, like Adventure Time and regular show and all that stuff.
My Little Pony.
Even that's kind of dead.
Yeah, My Little Pony's kind of dead too. Yeah.
And I just feel old now. Might be because I'm slightly sick, but now I just feel old.
I don't know. But hey, we're making content for this generation anyway, so whatever. That's the beauty of it.
We will influence their minds.
Yeah, we can actually influence what the hell they're buying anyway. Because we can actually make shit.
So actually, there's also another thing I want to bring up. In the cartoon world, in this generation cartoons, my little brother's generation of cartoons, I've noticed how ever since Adventure Time, the cartoons have been getting more and more surreal and weird.
No, ever since SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay, ever since SpongeBob, the cartoons have been getting more surreal and weird, like Chowder, Adventure Time. Another cartoon came out called Uncle Grandpa that almost made me blow my mind.
Yeah, Uncle Grandpa, Gravity Falls.
Yeah, I actually saw an episode of Uncle Grandpa and I realized it looks stupid and I think he's on crack, but it's really fun. They break a bunch of animation rules.
His head looked like a dick.
But I was wondering if there's like a gaming equivalent of that at least. I'm trying to look at it, I guess, but my gaming sphere is a little limited.
Wait. What do you mean gaming experience? Like what? It's like you mean is there a
like a reoccurring theme of this generation?
No, I don't think games have gotten more random this generation. I think they've just gotten more. No, I think they've gotten more spectacle heavy and big budget.
Yeah, that's what I meant, like a recurring theme.
Yeah.
Like, at one point somebody was mentioning how games were becoming more like movies.
Yeah. But games
Yeah,
aren't movies, though.
Yeah, but they're becoming more movie-esque, like more cinematic, I
Yeah.
guess. Like, Uncharted 3, oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh, sheesh.
Fun game and all, but that was so cinematically heavy, it kind of hurt.
Beyond Two Souls is cinematically heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then again, that is Quantic Dream.
I think we'll see more of that, though.
You think so?
More cinematic.
I think that line is gonna blur though. It's like we might see more gameplay focus now. Now
No,
that
I think we'll see more emphasis on presentation over gameplay.
well, yeah, duh. I mean, it's the PS4 and the
Yeah.
Xbox One, so come on.
Yeah, there's gonna be a few games out there that are just tech demos for the
No, but here's the thing though, because this generation jump is not as huge as last generation. I think we're gonna be focusing more on animation and how and physics and how realistically everything moves instead of how realistically everything looks, because we're starting to peak at that range already.
Well, MLB
Yeah.
14 for the PS4 has facial hair tech.
Yeah.
So all the baseball players have the stubble like sways in the wind whenever they move their head and stuff.
You do realize the only reason why they brought that
It
up
reminds
was
me of this article I saw. It's called for I think like it was for a new technology that AMD was working on called TressFX,
Yeah.
and you can render thousands and thousands of individual hairs on a person, and they
Yeah.
used Lara Croft from the new Tomb Raider as their tech demo, and it looked amazing.
Yeah.
100% realistic looking hair with thousands of strands.
Well, both NVIDIA and AMD have been able to do that for ages on the PC side, but now they're just bringing it to consoles now.
No, here's the thing though. I wonder if this gen will actually have like mud matted hair, where like if you trip and fall into mud will like mat around your hair and shit.
sort of like what the Uncharted did with like snow and sand.
Yeah.
And wet t-shirts.
Yes,
Wet
wet t-shirts.
No, because I've seen people like like whenever like people roll in mud in games and stuff, like when they come out, like their hair are still like the same and perfect.
And yeah, and also if they actually do put like mud and stuff on their clothing, like Metal and Snake Eater, if you wade through the mud and get out, like it's obvious they just put a mud texture over his legs and stuff.
Well, they kind of have to. I mean, it's the thing.
Oh yeah,
it's the thing back in the day. So yeah.
Oh yeah. But
That means
also
they're gonna
like,
have to shower.
but it's like what you're saying is like when
Yeah.
are they gonna actually like simulate, not render, simulate mud?
I don't think they'll simulate mud. I think they'll just have a sharper texture, which they put into ZBrush and stuff.
Yeah.
And then, because most production for video games models are using ZBrush now for if you're making in-game characters. So everything usually is done through ZBrush, like the texturing, the modeling. Yeah.
Who's playing Metal Gear?
Oh, that's my cousin's ringtone.
Oh.
Uh,
I still have my copy of Metal Gear.
I don't know. Okay, well, what do you say, Eric?
now you mentioned the jump between this gen and next gen is a little bit smaller. I guess that might have been why there was such a lack of things that I enjoyed this gen, because the jump between last gen and this gen was massive.
Well, last gen was massive is because we're jumping from SD to HD.
Plus,
Yeah.
we had weird architectures in
Yeah.
this generation.
Yeah, we have weird architecture this generation, but also it's because there's lots of things new this generation, like real time lighting, actual physics this time, and what was it? Jumping from 4:3 to 16:9 widescreen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we actually have hard drives for this generation.
Well,
Yeah.
on certain consoles.
Yeah.
Well, now that we're jumping to the next gen and the jump isn't as big,
Yeah.
Well, there's still going to be a jump, but it's not as big. That means, I guess you could say, developers will be able to get a grasp of the technology a little bit faster.
Well, the
But you-
technology this generation is supposed to be easier.
Yeah, because
yeah,
they're
so
all
do you
based on
think there's going to
PCs
be more
now.
games?
Yeah, because they're all based on PC tech now.
Yeah. So you think that now after they finally peak at the animation, the gameplay and whatnot, they're going to start refocusing, I hope, on other parts of the storytelling?
Well, here's the thing though. They said that this generation is also going to be focusing on cloud technology, which I'm wondering, like, okay, how would that work?
Yeah, that's a little
Well,
worrisome. But
on Microsoft side, they're just hosting the multiplayer stuff on their virtual servers in the cloud. And yeah, and on Sony's side, they're just gonna stream old games from the cloud using Gaikai.
they're just going to walk into it blind and just hope for the best and fix it as they go.
Yeah, what's Nintendo's focus on? Still just making their
Nintendo
games?
doesn't know what they're doing.
Nintendo's kind of magical like that, though. They don't know what they're doing, but they always pull something golden out of their asses.
And sometimes it flops, like the Wii U.
Yeah, well, we don't know about that yet.
It's not selling.
Yeah.
They only
Well,
sold
the theater's not
300,000 in 6 months.
Ooh, that is really small.
Yeah,
That's bad.
That
that's
is really well. Give them some time. I'm willing to give them like a year or something like that.
Hmm.
Well, you know, some massive game is gonna come out and it's gonna explode.
The next Smash Bros.
probably. Well, I know. I know a lot of people like our generation who bought a lot of 3DSs just to stock up on Super Smash Bros. When it comes out next year on 3DS. But I'm not really so sure. Well, I know it might sell Wii U's because the levels are different.
Well, who's buying them? Is it parents of kids, or is it just people our generation who want to play something nostalgic?
Probably. I mean, I don't know. They might buy the
Well,
Wii U just for it. Maybe.
I think the Smash Bros is that type of game where it doesn't matter what generation, if you remember or you don't remember it, it's a fun game. And since Nintendo never really like allows any of their franchise to die, every generation knows Mario and Zelda and Samus.
Speaking
Yeah.
of speaking of generational gaps, I've noticed something in like behavior of between like ages of gamers. People from like our older generation are the ones who are playing fun games like Smash Bros. And Pokemon and like games that are generally meant for the kid demographic. And the kids are playing Grand Theft Auto.
And Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, you're right. I mean, they're both fun respectively in their own right. It's just kids are violent these days.
And irritating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listening to a 10-year-old scream at you with words they don't know while playing
Yeah.
Call of Duty online, and you just kind of look at it and you're like, how old are you again? You're like, I'm 30.
Although there's nothing more frustrating than hearing someone's voice and you can't tell, okay, you're either a 10-year-old boy or a 20-year-old woman. I can't tell. If you're a 20-year-old woman, I'll treat you with respect. If you're a 10-year-old boy, I'm muting you. But I don't want to make the choice yet. What are you?
40-year-old man.
40-year-old man. What?
Feels like I was reading some of these stories online of like people in the customer service industry, and there's a few at video game shops where it's usually a parent brings in their obvious underage child and just blindly buys them Grand Theft Auto or Call of Duty or Halo or something.
Oh,
I
I think I
think
read
that's
that.
I think that's always been a problem with the industry, though.
Yeah. I mean,
And
It's little
sometimes
late.
it's like the parents are okay with it.
I think I read that same article actually, John. And the one that baffles me the most is parents when they buy it. They know that what they're buying, but they're
Yeah.
like, oh, all his friends have it.
Yeah, no, that's fucking bad.
no. They either say, oh, their friends have it, or they don't say, it's a video game. How bad could it be?
That's just bad parenting in general right there. Just ignorance and bad parenting right there. It's so irritating.
Well, I don't know. For me, I think some M-rated games are fine. Like 604. I think 13, 14-year-olds can play Saints Row 4.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
okay, I
Maybe.
admit that sort of like
It has the outlandish factor.
Yeah, it
Like,
has
it's
the
just so bizarre and psychotically wild that
Yeah.
you can't compare it to real life.
Yeah, I mean, it's
But
it's
then
like
there's
it's
GTA
it's a cartoon basically, so it's funny.
Yeah,
But
it's a
then there's
cartoon
just like
you get to
GTA
play.
5 where there's like
GTA, I'd say
Never let
maybe
kids touch that.
maybe 16, maybe.
They have to at least be like a junior in high school. They have to start reaching. They have to be like at that age where they're starting to reach maturity.
Now with Dead Space, however, I draw the line.
yeah, no. Anything like Dead Space
Well, Dead Space is just
or
violent.
And
yeah,
gory.
Dead Space, it's
Well,
gory
gore
as
is
hell.
actually not a problem because I mean, there's TV shows out there that are bloody as fuck, like and way more than they were so 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Spartacus, good heavens.
Oh yeah.
Walking Dead.
Spartacus is 300 on stars.
Hmm.
So
Actually,
like one episode, oh god, the guy just got his head cut off. Holy shit, the guy just got his dick cut off.
Dude.
Like Game of
Hey,
Thrones. What?
Okay, you said that not to maybe have 16-year-olds buy GTA. And
I said
never,
maybe.
yeah. And you drew the line at Dead Space, right?
Yeah.
I think we should reverse that
Okay, like.
because Dead Space is gory as hell, but
It's outlandishly gory when you think about it.
it's outlandishly
It's
gory.
depressingly gory. What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, that too. And parents. Okay, I don't want to say this because I'm obviously gonna be proven wrong, but I would like to hope at the very least. Parents, when they see that, they're going to say no.
Say no to what?
No, like when they see like a 10-year-old kid playing Dead Space of any kind, they're just going to stop it right there. Because I hope the parents aren't that stupid, but I'm sure there are. But yeah, they're in space and killing aliens. But in GTA, it's set in a relatively realistic setting where there's strippers, there's a torture scene.
Okay, here's my argument. Sure, they may be aliens, but you see how people die, though.
Right.
And that I draw the line at.
No, I guess it's what the feeling you get from it. Do you feel disgusted after playing it? If so, then it's probably not something you should show to your kids. Then.
Well, I don't know. Like we played Fear when we were young, and we turn on.
Yeah, but Fear was interesting in a way that it was the first game to have physics in it.
No, Fear actually tried to not show you how people die and stuff. They actually try to scare you with they actually try to scare you with 1 minute he's standing there, next minute he's dead and he's hanging there, and you're like, holy shit, what the fuck is how the hell does she like that? Meanwhile,
I would give kids a chance to play a horror game like that because it's less about the gore, less about the violence, more about the tension.
Yeah. Meanwhile,
I would let kids of all ages play Amnesia because there's almost no violence in that game. It's all in your head.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe not anything below 10.
But
I would let young teenagers play Amnesia because it's not about the violence. It's not even about the gameplay.
Or Slender Man.
Slender Man, oh yes.
Slender Man is actually quite scary. But Brian, okay, well maybe Dead Space not for kids. Well, obviously not for kids. Maybe 16, whatever. But mostly because it's more. But I would think that GTA 5 is a little bit worse because it's realistic.
Yeah, and it's a contemporary setting. It can easily be related to real life.
Yeah, but that's why I say 16 maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, the rating is M17, so when you're 17, go wherever, do whatever.
So yeah, when you're a junior in high school, go ahead, buy it.
But I say 16 is because it depends on the kid. Like if he's smart and if he knows, if he's not immature about it, then yeah, sure, then
Right.
we can actually have a discussion about it. But if he's oh my god, I gotta kill that stripper.
Yeah, I really wish that it was part of store policies at GameStop or any of those stores where the cashier can choose whether or not to sell a game to someone based on their character.
Well,
so if a kid, 17-year-old kid, walks up with a copy of GTA 5 and wants to purchase it, And when the cashier, by policy rule, asks for his ID, that should be the point where they gauge their character, where it's like, if he calmly, respectfully, and maturely takes out the ID, shows it, and proves that he's 18 and stuff, I was like, okay, he can get the game. But if he's a little brat who's like, well, fuck, you need to see my ID, don't sell
Well, the
him.
problem with that, people could sue for discrimination then.
Yeah.
That is a problem, but it's also smart.
It's like saying like, hey, yeah, I'm not selling you the 50-cent game because you're black. And it includes rap and stuff inside it, so
I know what your kind does when we play these kind of games.
Hey, don't they card people at game stores already?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Mom, this is how they do it. It's like little kids go like, hey mom, yeah, there's this new Call of Duty out. Can you help me buy it for me? Yeah, sure. After the mom goes in, after the store, she's like, I want that, Call of Duty, Ghost maybe? Then the guy's like, okay, yeah, sure. Can we see her ID please? And she's like, sure, okay, yeah. Then they give her the game, she buys it and she leaves. And she gives it to little Tippy who goes home and plays it with his friends.
Yeah.
So Story thinks that they're checking ID for credit fraud or something.
Yeah.
For credit card.
For credit, to make sure that, it's her credit card thing.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why they check their IDs. I think they should at the very least like read out the little box, the little
No, I think you should just tell the parents like, you know that this game is for 18-year-olds and up, right? Or something like that.
Yeah,
And
usually
as soon as they say something along the lines of, but his friends have it, you just start reading the stuff off of there.
But his friends have it.
Yeah, because his friends are messed up.
If all your friends jump off a bridge, that's the argument again.
Yeah.
They should do that, actually. They really should do something along the lines of that. My brother actually came back from school, and he actually his high school is next to a junior high.
Well, okay,
You
let's
want-
compare our generation games to their generation, because when we were young, when we played games like M-rated games, our M-rated games were like Diablo 2, GTA San Andreas, what was it? Manhunt, stuff like that. Fear.
Our M-rated for today's T-rated games.
Yeah. What's to say that, maybe Dead Space might be tomorrow's T-rated game? I don't know.
Oh, hell no. You know that's not possible, right? There are boobs in that game. There's blatant boobage. In this country, no.
There was boobage and prey.
No, you're right.
And your girlfriend gets fucked up and everything. Yeah. There were demons in Doom 3. And, we see people get burned alive and shit.
Yeah, but they look so fake now.
By now. But,
Fear,
By now.
It's like Fear 2, people dissolve into bloody skeletons right in front of your eyes.
Yeah, I mean, who's to
But
say...
actually, I guess from the end of last generation is when things started getting really realistic.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's when we essentially hit the peak in our rating.
Well, think about it, back in the day when people like freaked out over Mortal Kombat because, they showed blood and decapitation.
Yeah,
and
but
now
it was all pixel.
Yeah, but now when we look at it, we laugh at it because this is M-rated, all that shit.
Yeah, and then they recreated the Mortal Kombat game, and then
okay,
everyone
now
just
talking
sort of
about the remake.
Yeah, the remake now everyone sort of cringes just how blatantly ugly it is.
No, it's not even cringy at all. It's actually kind of funny because like they went so over the top with it that it's very stupid.
It's like, yeah, a bullet to the head will not make your entire head skull explode into little giblets.
Yeah.
At that point, they're just playing off of hot fuzz. Is it true that there's a place in a man's head that if you shoot it, it will blow up?
Yeah.
Depends on the bullets, I guess.
I don't think a 9mm Beretta can do that to an entire human skull.
Even if you use like incendiary rounds or something?
No, what you would need is anything above a 30-06. It won't explode outward. It'll explode.
And how do you know this, Eric?
Because I watched the pictures. Just take a block of clay,
something?
right, World War I, and fire at it. You'll see it. You'll see exactly what it'll do. Basic. Actually, okay, we're getting off topic. No, don't get me talking about history. No.
Well, we can still talk about history with Black Flag.
Yeah.
God.
Pirating, yeah. I don't know, felt like Sid Meier's Pirates, but
Way better.
yeah, graphically better. But from what I've seen, almost it's basically Sid Meier's Pirates, but graphically better.
Isn't there like a lot of glitches in that game though?
I haven't found any.
Well, there's some animation.
There's some animations like stupid things
Weird.
where like the guy will hang above you, or like some people clip into walls. But other than that, there's nothing game breaking.
I don't know. I saw 2 guards standing there, but they were spinning around, and you had to sneak by them.
I know, I've been lucky. Like I've been just running around and like pirating ships and stuff, and everything's been running all fine.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. I don't know. I've only ever completed one Assassin's Creed game, and that's Assassin's Creed Liberation. Yeah.
Actually, getting back to the whole M-rated topic, what do you think? Where do you think you would draw the line on like the disturbing factor? Because like I just remembered that boss fight in the new Devil May Cry, where you're basically fighting a demon baby that like erupts out of its fetus state and turns into this giant.
I draw the line on DMC also. I mean,
Yeah,
you
that
see,
was-
Yeah.
you
that was
see
a very
Virgil's.
That was clever, but
Yeah.
also disturbing as fuck. Because like the baby just turned into a giant and then used its and like the umbilical cord is now attached to his mother's head, and he sucked it in. And it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty fucked up. That's an M right there.
Awkward. I know.
It's the same themes. Wait, also I recall,
Like I was enjoying it along with DMC until Virgil shot her when she was pregnant. I was like, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, that was fucked up.
That was fucked up.
Why don't we just follow the rating on the box then?
Because people don't rate. People are stupid.
no, they're
Oh yeah,
stupid.
people don't even see the big M on the box. They're just like, oh, it's Call of Duty. He wants this. His friends have it.
Would you like me to show you a man having his head slit off with a very large knife in this game?
No, it's like, oh, that's fine. It's like, it's decapitation and stuff. Everybody has seen it before. Show a nipple. Holy shit, what the fuck?
You're right, actually. That's exactly how it goes.
That actually reminds me of like I was watching Yahtzee Zero Punctuation in his review for the new Twisted Metal, and talking about the awkward juxtaposition between like outlandish gameplay and gritty realism. So and then it's like one of the little animations he showed is like it'd be kind of awkward for little Timmy to be playing like wacky fun racing games. His mother walks in and it's like, oh, what a fun game. And then suddenly someone drops the F-bomb and she's like, what the hell is this?
Actually, have any of you played that Twisted Metal game?
The new one? No. I haven't played the new one.
I remember playing the old one, and the old one was fun and silly.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And this one wasn't fun or silly. This one was just dark, and I didn't like it.
I loved it. The gameplay is still fun.
Oh, okay, the gameplay was fun, I admit that, but then the story is just...
Story's all
It got
over
so
the
dark
place.
where it's just like it made me dislike it. I mean, what was that awful shooter game? Homefront?
The one where North Korea takes over?
The one where, okay, first of all, okay. I'm just gonna get this out of my system right now. That was so unrealistic, it hurt. And they made Kim Jong-un skinny, which pissed me off.
Why? Wait,
But,
what pissed you off about that game?
When the game first came out, people were kind of parading around saying it's the type of game where it's not afraid to piss you off. And the first thing that struck me was, but if it pisses me off too much and I don't like it, then I won't play it. And I played it because my friend had it, or well, not really a friend, a roommate had it. And I kept on playing, and I got halfway through and I realized everybody in the game is such a massive dick that I don't have any investment on any of the characters. I want to kill everyone. And that was the essential point of the game. It wasn't like you're a resistance fighter, it's you're a fucking murderer. And everyone deserved to die. And I'm playing and I'm just like, no more. I didn't even finish it, didn't want to, didn't care.
when they were playing development for the game, at first it was supposed to be the Chinese, but then they thought it got too realistic, so they decided to choose North Korea instead.
Because, that's just as realistic.
The
Yeah.
premise sounds a lot like Freedom Fighters.
Hmm.
That
Oh,
old the old IO interactive game that came out last gen.
Do you remember the movie Red Dawn, John?
I never saw that.
Oh, do you remember the old one?
No.
Well, that's essentially what it is.
Yeah.
The communists take over. It's a Red Scare game.
Yeah.
It's the same writer, I think.
Yeah,
Or-
it's a terrible writer.
But Freedom Fighters
I
was
swear to
actually
God, I
pretty cool.
As I'm playing that game, I expected like a bunch of high school students with guns coming out screaming out Wolverine.
Hmm.
But like Homefront was like basically ripping off those old like Red Scare plots, and I think that Freedom Fighters from last gen did it better. The Russians took over and stuff, and you are like an underground movement, but it actually felt more, even though it was like heavily stylized visually and everything, it still felt more realistic. Like you actually have a movement growing up, and you actually have to strategically plan out your assaults in each chapter. And it incorporates your tactics into the gameplay. So, like, let's say you go to one zone and you destroy a fuel depot for helicopters. A helicopter that was terrorizing you in another zone is no longer there because it can no longer refuel itself. Like little interesting gameplay tweaks from your strategies come into play. And the gameplay was actually pretty fun.
The thing about these Red Scare games, well, not really Red Scare anymore, they've been trying to get more and more realistic. So they're like, how can we F up America, essentially, and make them the underdog? Well, one thing is, America can never be the underdog because there's really no one in the country that has gone equal part with it unless you get a shit ton of countries to beat them up. The second part is, don't be realistic. It's
a video game.
Yeah, it's like, they're like, we want you to feel sorry for America. I'm like, I don't feel sorry for my country. My country's a douche. But the best, but the best America becoming an underdog story that I've ever played is another Homefront game. But this is when the Nazis took over, like in World War II, and it was hilarious.
Wait, this is a game or just like some part of history?
It's a Homefront game where Nazi invades New York, and it's hilarious.
Oh, Turning Point?
Yes, that was it.
I never played that. Did not hear anything good about it.
It wasn't good, yeah, but it's funny. It's like that. Oh, geez, there's this movie. I think it's called Iron Hearts. But basically, there's Nazis on the moon, and they invade the planet in swastika-shaped UFOs.
What the
Iron Sky.
Oh yeah, that was it. It was so funny. It was so stupid. Really
it was
funny.
Hilarious.
They're Nazis on the damn moon, and their base is the shape of a swastika. Their UFOs, like flying saucers, are the shape of a swastika. Their fighters are shapes of swastikas. It's hilarious.
And their technology is so outdated that a single iPhone has enough processing power to launch their flagship mothership or whatever. It was hilarious.
Yes, it was. That's what I thought about Turning Point when I was playing that game. It's like, this is like that really terrible Nazi invasion movie. So we're just talking about last gen right now.
Yeah.
Actually, want to wrap it up with next gen?
Yeah, sure. So what are you guys playing right now?
Well, if we're going to talk about next gen, I don't think we're playing anything from next gen.
No, I said you wrapped it up. It's already done. We're moving on.
Well, I'm dabbling a bit in GTA 5.
I'm essentially saving up money to get Pokemon.
Yeah. Which version would you want to get?
I think my brother. Which one was the most popular one? I think it was X. My brother got Y, so I'm gonna see if I can get X.
What's the last
Yeah.
Pokemon game you played? I said, what was the last Pokemon game you played, Eric?
Diamond, I think. Pearl.
Yeah, that's been a while then.
Yeah, I never got my chance to play Heart Gold or Soul Silver, but I watched my roommate Chris, and well, it's essentially gold and silver, so I didn't really invest, even though I just enjoyed watching him play. I know when Black and White come out, I thought it was hilarious. When Black 2 and White 2 came out, I just didn't remember it. What else am I looking for, actually? I don't know, at the moment, all my games are uninstalled because I have to mute my computer.
Well, currently, yeah, I'm currently looking forward to Final Fantasy X on the Vita, but there's still no new information about that.
Aw.
Yeah, Square hasn't shown off anything for it.
Square's a bit of a dick, so
Yeah.
too high up.
Oh well.
Actually, there is a indie game I recall I was looking forward to. What was it? Let me go look for it. It's all like old school 8-bit, but it's like something to do with space.
I also started playing Velvet Assassin.
Again?
Well, I never beat it the first time.
Oh,
And I'm actually kind of enjoying it, even though it is difficult as hell.
How's it difficult?
Well, it's basically like Splinter Cell, but with much harder difficulty. The enemy, movement patterns are predetermined, but they have much more attuned to vision, so even in the dark, they can see you if you get too close to them. Not like Splinter Cell, where if you're basically technically hidden in shadow, you're effectively invisible. Speaking of Splinter Cell, how was the new one?
Black Site, I think. I haven't played it.
Blacklist?
Yeah.
I've never played it either.
I haven't heard anything about it since it launched, because I haven't heard anyone talk about it, not in my classes. I haven't seen any more advertisements for it since it launched. Because normally if a game launches and it does really good, they'll keep advertising it.
Yeah.
Saying it's like, IGN, 10 out of 10, Escapist, 5 out of 5, blah, blah, blah. They'll keep going and trying to sell it. But Blacklist, as soon as it launched, no more ads. So I'm assuming it did not perform very well.
That's,
I found it. I found that indie game, by the way.
what was it?
It's called Starbound.
Starbound. Never heard of it.
Have you heard of a game called Terraria?
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's kind of like that. By that I mean it looks just like it.
What, Starbound?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an indie game that Eric is looking forward to.
Are you watching something, John?
Oh yeah, my cousin's watching Workaholics.
Okay. Shall we just end this episode now then?
Yeah.
Sure.
Sure,
Okay.
Sure.
Wait, Paul, I forgot you were here. Okay, never mind.
Alright.
Right, okay. Please click like and subscribe, and thank you for listening, and see you next time.
Alright, 3, 2, 1.